How are you, Bongi?
I'm good.
Hi.
On that other jet, goddamn. I don't get no rest, goddamn.
Yeah, so welcome to my third YouTube video. And as you can see, I'm very happy to be talking to you today on this very nice day. Today is a very nice day, and I'm here. Hi. Today's video has no agenda, it has no topic, it has no title. It's just me talking. Because if you can remember, I mentioned that I'm not a traditional YouTuber, and I don't have an intro. I'm basically just here to talk today, and I hope you're ready to listen to me talk today. Because it's one of those days where you just sit down and talk and talk and talk and talk. Yeah. So I asked some of my friends to ask me some questions for my intro, and they did. I just got 3 questions because that's not what the video is about. And if I can remember the questions, one of them was what what is my favorite album of the year so far? And I would have to settle with Virgins by Lord. Yeah, I've enjoyed that album the most this year. Most of the albums I'm currently enjoying weren't released in 2025 because I'm still hooked onto Hit Me Hard and Soft. I've been listening to a lot of Rachel Chinoriri. What a devastating turn of events. You know, one thing about me is that I can listen to a song or watch a movie and then not know the title of the movie or the names of the characters in the movie. Same way I wouldn't know the title of a song or the title of the album unless I'm like actively paying attention and like trying to keep up. But most of the times I'm not very interested in the details. I let the art sort of speak for itself rather than, having to get an initial title or what can I say? Picture. Yeah. And I believe that art shouldn't be described because people perceive art in very different ways. I could watch a sad movie and feel joyful at the end of the movie because maybe it illustrated a certain feeling that I haven't been able to understand. And then I get a better understanding of it at the end of the movie as compared to someone who might watch the movie and then feel sad because they maybe haven't felt that way and they empathize with the storyline of the movie and they feel every single thing that was being put out in the movie. And so that's one of the very interesting things about me when it comes to art. I don't really like to give things a title or to assign things a meaning, just let it be this endless vessel of potential. It could be anything, really. And I think that's going to be the main theme of this video. It's not going to have a specific title. It's just going to be me talking about anything. And from whatever I'll talk about, you'll probably extract some form of meaning or some form of title out of it. I'll just label it as chit chat or something in those lines. And then another friend asked me what my favorite weird food combo is. And I think I answered this in my first YouTube video, or maybe it was a question similar to this one. And I said I normally add apple to most of my food. But then I discovered that that's not a very weird food combination. Yeah. And I thought about this question a lot, and turns out I am not into weird food combinations. Yeah, and I know it sounds like I just don't have an answer for anything, or I had an answer for my favorite album of the year. But for the food combo, I don't think I'm into any weird food combinations. And an interesting fact about me, again, is that I don't like mixing foods. I don't like foods that are sort of combined, like a burger. I enjoy all the individual elements of a burger, the patty, the bread, the vegetables, the cheese, and everything individually. But once you put everything together, I enjoy it less. And that's why I would mostly opt for chicken and chips rather than a burger because a burger is just like too compacted or combined and the flavors are just like dancing in your mouth. My approach with food is maybe my approach with life itself, because I'm mostly drawn to minimalism, and minimalism is quite boring. It's not boring, but it's not very loud. It's not very mixed and infused. It's very individual and similar. It's plain in a way, Yeah, I'm quite minimal in most areas of my life. Fashion, food, music, and it's actually interesting that now I'm realizing this, because who would have thought that a question about food would make me realize this much about myself? But I guess that's the beauty of life. You just learn new things every day. Yeah, so I'm quite minimal in my approach with a lot of things actually. And the third question was, um what was the question? I've forgotten the question, and I need to read it again. The third question was how small is your waist? I don't really understand what that means. I don't know what a small waist is supposed to be, or a big waist is supposed to be. But I'm going to say my waist is the normal size that a waist is supposed to be. And I hope that answers your question. I don't have much to add on to that question. It was quite direct. So I'm not very sure how small my waist is. It's it's not small enough to be considered a small
Still
waist.
going?
Yeah, it's
Still going?
the normal size
Oh
of
my
a
god,
waist. So
Robin!
it's big enough. It's small. I don't know. I'm probably confusing you. Yeah. So that's it with the questions, and yeah, I'm just going to talk about some interesting things that I whipped up this week, or in the period of 1 week. I made a pineapple shakshuka. Wait. I made a pineapple shakshuka. Oh yeah, it is a pineapple shakshuka. Well, it's just the shakshuka. It's a Middle Eastern dish. That's basically supposed to be a tomato soup, and a tomato soup that has poached eggs in it. So I made a shakshuka last week. It's a Middle Eastern dish, but my version of the shakshuka is a pineapple shakshuka, because I added pineapple to the shakshuka. And I'm sure you're wondering what a shakshuka is. A shakshuka, in my definition of it, I know nothing about it actually. I could be offending the Middle Eastern people, but it's my version of things. One thing I love about cooking, or the way that I cook, is that I get inspiration from so many people and so many things, and then I just do it in my own way. I don't really like to stick to a recipe, because I find myself doing things in a manner that is meant to be followed. And then when you do things in that manner, you are sort of negating the possibility of adding yourself to that thing. And so when it comes to cooking, I normally just like look through a recipe, or save some cooking videos in my head. Then I create something of my own style. And so that's basically why this shakshuka is called a pineapple shakshuka by Sonda. Yeah, so
Smart.
a pineapple shakshuka is basically, or what I know from my observation, is like a tomato soup with poached eggs in it. So you make the tomato soup, and you basically poach the eggs in the tomato soup for a period of time, and it forms this very beautiful dish that you can have with bread, or any type of side that you prefer. Yeah. So my version of the shakshuka had pineapple in it, and the reason why I made the pineapple shakshuka is because it sort of reminded me of the sweet and sour pizza. A few days before that, I was talking to my best friend, and she was telling me about how she was craving pizza. Yeah, she was telling me about how she was craving pizza, and we were talking about flavors of pizza. And I think we talked about sweet and sour pizza for quite some time, that it got stuck in my head. And the couple of days later, or the next day, I found myself craving that type of pizza. But then I was like, well, I can't access that kind of pizza right now, so I might try to recreate that kind of pizza in a way. And luckily, I found some pineapple in the fridge, and I was like, well, we're basically halfway there. And so um, initially, I can't even remember what my inspiration was. I don't know if I wanted to make I didn't want to make a pizza, because that was breakfast. I just wanted to make a sandwich, normal sandwich. It was just going to be a normal sandwich with pineapples on top of it. But then I remember that I saw something, that could be, more interesting. And so I decided to dice up the pineapples and the tomatoes and the peppers, and fry them. So I fried them together in some margarine, and I added black pepper and salt, Added some sauces, some sweet chili. What else did I add? Yeah, just a little bit of burger relish sauce, and it formed this really nice soup kind of thing. And I added an egg for the full shakshuka experience, and it turned out perfect in my opinion. I remember topping it with cheese for the pizza effect, and I am actually very proud of how that turned out to be. And in a way, I created my very own recipe. In case I ever have a restaurant one day, that's definitely going to be on the breakfast menu. Pineapple shakshuka by Sonda. How does that sound? Sounds very good, right? Yeah. So that's basically how we got to that. And the second thing I made was a pineapple apple sauce. Yeah. And the story behind the pineapple apple sauce is almost similar to the shakshuka, except I was purely just confused on what to make because when I saw the pineapple and I saw the apple, the first thing that came to mind was a fruit salad, But then I wasn't really in the mood to have something soggy or not soggy, but something. I wasn't really in the mood to have something wet or something drenched in something. And so I thought, what could I possibly make from this? And so I remembered that I once made this granola a few months ago. And so I decided to cook the fruits. And I was like, you know what, I'll figure out what's going to become of these fruits as I keep on cooking, which is how I normally cook. Most of the times when I'm trying to be innovative, or most of the times when I'm just trying to do something, I just start doing the thing, and eventually we create some form of invention out of it. I'd say I'm an innovator when it comes to cooking because I like to do things in my own style. And so I just decided to cook the fruits, the pineapple and apple, in margarine, hoping that I come up with something. And to my surprise, I came up with something because a few days before that, I saw this African TikToker make jam out of guava. And I was like, wait, she was frying the guava. How? Why don't I make jam out of this? And I'm like, well, okay, let's just see how it goes. And so I'm cooking everything and I'm thinking, what can I do next? I added a teaspoon of sugar, and I think that must have been 50 mils of lemon juice. Yeah, and when everything was ready, I decided to blend everything together. And I did that. I blended everything together. Then after blending everything together, the consistency was still kind of thick. No, no, no. After blending everything together, the consistency was still kind of thin, so I had to like thicken it up. But thickening something up means you either have to add something that's going to thicken it or just cook it for a longer period of time. And so I decided to cook it for a few more minutes, and I did that, and it started to thicken. Um, and after a few minutes from a jam, I realized that there was this. So after a few minutes of thickening the jam, I realized that it was more of a sauce than a jam. I don't know. Yeah, it felt like a sauce than a jam. And yeah, that's basically how I made. Oh, I also forgot to say that I added 150 mils of fruticana to the cooked fruit, and it sort of became before blending, and I blended everything together and then cooked everything for a couple of minutes, and then it thickened up, and that's how we arrived to these. I'm probably gonna attach them there. But yeah, so that's basically how I made the pineapple shakshuka by Sonda and the pineapple applesauce by Sonda. These are two inventions that are purely my own. I did not follow a recipe. It all came from my head. I was inspired by a couple of people, but they are my inventions or innovations. I really don't know the difference. It's innovation, not inventions, but they're purely my innovations. Yeah, and that's basically everything I had for you guys this week. Um I hope you enjoyed the video. I enjoyed the video personally. Yeah, I was having a rough couple of days, but sitting down to record this definitely helped clear my mind and offload a couple of things. And I hope to see you guys in my next video. To see you as in the likes and comments. Bye.